Okay, here we go. The Heilige Tanya. We're on page Vav. We were speaking about the four elements and how the soul comes into the world. The animal soul as well as the godly soul. We were dealing with the animal soul comes into the world through these four elements of fire, earth, water, and air. And we mentioned all the negative qualities of those elements. Now we're going to speak about that the nature of the animal soul has both a proclivity towards negative elements, but also has a proclivity towards positive elements, even the animal soul. Not just the godly soul. The godly soul wants complete meaning and purpose and relationship and connection and depth, intimacy. We haven't even started to talk about the godly soul, but even the animal soul has majority towards negative, self-centered energy in the world, but also has some positiveness to it. What's that positive? Says the Tanya, Gam midas toivis shebeteva kol Yisrael. There are certain positive traits that are in the fabric of Israel, betoldoisam, from their very inception. These are three traits, the Gemara says in Yevamis Ayin Testament Aleph, that the nation of Israel has these three traits that are in the DNA of the Jew. Kumei rachmanas, to be compassionate. Gimilus chasadim, to be kind people, to be givers. And there's another one the Gemara says, baishanim, which means that we're embarrassed, but it means that we feel we're sensitive people. Very sensitive. Now, why are these three traits? These three traits are specific inside of us. These are three traits that are so classically associated with Yisrael. The trait of giving. The trait of giving. In our communities, we have something called a gemach. You know what a gemach is? So gemach literally means gimilut chasadim. There's a gemach for everything. In our communities, you can open up a book and you say, I need a gemach for children's clothing. Oh, yeah, okay. I ran out. Okay, yeah, here's. And you'll call them up and say, oh, is this the gemach for children? Yeah, sure is. What do you need? Oh, do you have like 2 tea? Oh, yeah, 2 tea. We got 5 of them. Here you go. What do you need this? Sure, take it. Really? Take it? Like, yeah, that's what it's for. You run out of candles right before Shabbos. There's a gemach in your neighborhood that people have candles. They have extra oil. You need a gemach for a car that's very, very cheap. Someone in the neighborhood, you call them up, they have a gemach, you use this car, show whatever you need. They have gemach for pacifiers. If your child's not taking a pacifier, you go into the electric box, into building 122, open up the electrical box, and there's little hooks set up in the electric box. Right when you open up the door, you got like 50 different types of pacifiers. You just return it, put it in the box, we'll sterilize it, and then we'll put it back there, whoever needs it, because maybe your baby doesn't like a pacifier that's like this, and wants one like this. They have gemachs for breast milk. You're not producing enough milk, don't worry, call this gemach. We have a freezer with 100 liters of extra breast milk. The Jews are notorious that will give and give and give, and will give in ways that people can use and that need it. We give so much charity, it's part of our essence to give tzedakah, to support. Part of the Torah is to give at least 10% person's income, to give really 20% ideally. Person's even more rich, you can give up to 99%. As long as you can live comfortably on that 1%, we give it so much. Then I remember growing up, they used to have these things, these telethons. Remember telethons? Telethons are like, they'd have some, superstar, like Bono. And Bono would be talking there, or like, somebody at one of these chevra, they'd be talking about, we gotta save the kids in Ethiopia, and those are very nice things. We have to save them. Learning Torah is one of the greatest ways to also save people, which is Magen Amatzio. And it would be like a 25, you call in, and you'd be playing music, and have like the band, and Rolling Stone, and everything, the whole thing. We have to get to our goal. We're getting up there. And the goal was like $25,000. And if the biggest superstar in the world, 25, we're getting there, and everyone's calling us like this the scene shows, everyone's like on the phones, calling, pledging, just for $1 a day, and a cup of coffee a day, and everyone's, yeah, we're gonna help, and we got to our goal, $29,000. Bono, how much money? $29,000? It's amazing. But want to give like $1 million? No. Someone told me LeBron gave some charity or something. Like, yeah, LeBron gives a big charity. How about $10,000? You said $1 billion, LeBron. Give Meister on your $1 billion. $100 million, LeBron. Give $100 million away to charity. Now, Meister, give Chaimish $200 million, LeBron. Nah, I might need it, Come on, LeBron. I challenge you, give $200 million to charity. You know how much Gramasian gives? Hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars to charity. There's something in the neshama, even in the animal soul, that's what we're talking about. Even in the animal soul that wants to give. It's so in the nature to give. This is big. And it doesn't mean that you can't find nations of the world that are also giving. They can give, but it's rare. It's rare. It's something in the fabric. After the Holocaust, there was many places that everything was lost and destroyed. And the Sheres HaPleita, those who were left over, came to America and they had to restart. And a rabbi gets up and says, okay, we have to build a shul. Whatever people have, give $10,000. Okay, $25,000, $40,000, $20,000. And people just when you live with this high ideal and you realize the money is just a means to invest in something bigger, that's encoded. And that's what it means that Gimilus Chasodim, to give and to be kind, it's in the DNA of Yisrael, to give and to give and to give and to give. It's in our DNA. This is so important to be tuned into this. That's why there's a halacha on Purim. On Purim, there's a halacha that kol ha-poshet yad, anyone who puts up their hand on Purim for tzedakah, what's the halacha? Noisnin lo, you have to give him. Did you know that? Every other day of the year you're allowed to ask questions. You deserve it? You're honest? Yeah, maybe. Yes, no, maybe so. You can evaluate. But on Purim, are you allowed to evaluate? No. He puts out his hand, boom, you have to give him. No questions. Why? By the way, Purim's the only holiday that's going to be fully in action when Mashiach comes. All the other holidays are going to become secondary. Purim's going to be the holiday. So what's the idea that on Purim, Dafka, anyone who puts out their hand, you have to give them? Because on Purim you realize, Einod Milvada, Hashem, you're the only one that controls the world. It's you, it's only you. It's only you. And not only that, there's not even anything else in the world. There's nothing. There's only you, which means that's it. In the world to come, we're going to go back into that reality and you're going to be aware of it. We're going to re-emerge into God, but now be aware of that consciousness. So on Purim, you start to really get it. That all this money, you think this is my money? It's all God. It's all God. And the best way to show that this is all God's, that I'm just a caretaker of this money, Hashem just put it into, it's like a deposit, a temporary deposit, but it's His account, is that Hashem says one day out of the year, just give it. Anybody who asks it. You really believe, Rebbe Yid, that it's only me? So prove it. One of the greatest ways is just give. Millions of dollars change hands per billions. Just everyone, money's going left. One of the mitzvahs of the day is to give money to the poor. That's one of the mitzvahs. Besides that, anyone who comes to you have to give them. A lot of money goes to just... People start coming in. Of course, the fact that there's wine flowing makes it easy to come to somebody's house. Oh, Rabbi, you got some money? This just takes a checkbook. Okay, here you go. Got money? Yeah, sure. Take the wallet, bro. Here you go. A lot of things are happening on Purim because you're showing that you think that money really belongs to you. You're just a temporary caretaker. In the same way that Hashem gave it to you, if you're not using it properly, you can just take it away like that. So fast. It's mine. It's so stable. It's in my bank. Your bank, come on. Your bank. Think those are stable? Try to go take all your money out. We don't have those funds right now, sir. They're just, Where are they? They're just numbers on a screen, sir. Sorry. So Hashem says the same thing. You think it's yours, like it's solid, it's God's. So if we use the money properly, we start cycling it and using it for holy things, it's a way of showing. So embedded in the Jewish soul is this Gimilus Chasadim of giving and giving and giving. We give like crazy. We're crazy givers. We give. We give because we know that's it. That's it. Rachmanas. Aishana. Gimilus Chasadim. Ki bi Yisrael nefesh de klipahi. These are big lines in the Tanya. Miklipas noiga. Sheyesh ba gam kein toiv. Vehi misoid eitz adas toivara. That was one of the most Kabbalistic lines we've seen in the Tanya. We're going to have to take a day or two to explain it. We mentioned the idea before in the Tanya called klipas. Klipas being the shell. A shell of a fruit. In the same way that when I want the fruit, the shell disguises itself as the fruit, and I think that the shell is the fruit, so I get lost. But I really need to peel off the fruit to get to the core. So too the world's got these klipas. There's a lot of klipas right now. Klipas mean the powers of evil that gaslight and make themselves look like it's the truth, but it's really covering over the real truth. Just like a shell covers the fruit, so too a klipa, forces of evil in the world cover over the truth of the situation and steal the truth. Make themselves look like there's no truth, it's hidden, and the only truth is the exterior part. That's called a klipa. That's why so much of this world is completely external. It totally false. The news right now is false, mamish. It's completely fabricated. But it's so convincing, just like the peel makes it look like that's the fruit itself. It's completely convincing, but don't fall into that. It's a total ploy. Don't fall into it. Only people that really just don't see the inner universe fall into the world of klipa. Okay, where does this all come from though? Today we're going to have to spend a few minutes learning about what's called the chariot of Yechezkel, the Merkava. Okay, everyone knows the deepest part of Kabbalah, and that's not our. We're not Kabbalists here. We're simply trying to get to the heart of the matter. But we were given reshus to look a little bit into some of these ideas. We're going to be entering into the Merkava of Ezekiel, Yechezkel's vision of the Merkava, the chariot of Hashem. So the beginning of the story, this is the beginning of Ezekiel, Yechezkel. We read as a haftarah on Shavuos. It's talking about the vision that Yechezkel sees. So I'm reading from the beginning of Yechezkel, Perek Aleph, Pasuk Daled. Va'era, vehine, and Yechezkel saw and behold, Ruach Se'ara. A Ruach Se'ara is here translated as stormy wind. Ba min Hatzafon, came from the north. Anan Gadol, and a big cloud, a scary cloud. Okay, so what do we have so far? This big storm, this scary cloud, this stormy wind, this scary cloud. Ve'esh mislakachas, and a flashing fire. He's seeing these things. Ve'noiga loy saviv, and there was a light around. Umitoicha, and inside of this, ke'ena chashmal, mitoicha eish, and inside, like the chashmal doesn't mean your electricity company, chashmal, in the fire, mitoicha, and inside of that, the mus arba chayis, was the likeness of these four living beings. And they had the face of man, And it goes on and explains, and then in there, Hashem. You didn't see Hashem, but which means what was happening here. So the Sfarim, the Arizal explains that there's 4 klippas in this world. There's 3 klippas that are called Shalosh Klippas Taneas, 3 impure klippas, which means that there's 3 klippas, i.e. 3 shells that prevent me from seeing Hashem, where I can't access God in those places. Remember, a klippa means a block, a shell. There's 3 categories of things that Hashem is creating all around us right now, which are completely impure, and they are a total smoke screen around God, completely. You can't engage in them. If you engage in them, God forbid, they can sap life force from you and essentially make more power of these dark forces in the world, these concealing forces. These 3 impure forces are essentially all the things in the world which we are not allowed to touch, and they're called asur. Asur means what?
Forbidden.
Forbidden. Forbidden. Such as forbidden relationships, forbidden foods, forbidden activities, breaking Shabbos, forbidden speech, lashon hara, speaking evil speech, forbidden activities, gambling, etc., etc., etc. Anything which is forbidden, i.e. the 248 prohibitions in the Torah, the 365 prohibitions of the Torah, is that world called 3 impure shells. Because if a person goes in that direction, it blocks God from him. Those 3 impure shells are referred to of the first 3 things that Yechezkel saw. The Ruach Sa'ara, the stormy wind, the Anam Gadol, a big scary cloud, and the Eshmis Lakachas, and this fire. Those are all things that you can't penetrate it. It's like impenetrable. Don't try and serve God through having an illicit sexual relation. That's just not going to go. It doesn't work that way. I'm going to serve God and get close to Him by speaking evil talk. It can't. Those are complete blockages. By stealing. I'm sorry, you can't. Robin Hood was incorrect. You can't do that. These are the 3 shells that cover over Hashem. And this world is filled with it. Filled. Nowadays, everywhere you look, everywhere has images that are not nice to look at. And therefore, everywhere seems to be making these blockages. And therefore, to see Hashem is always hiding, so to speak, beneath the shells. To find Hashem beneath the shells means I somehow need to push these away. If I engage in them, God forbid, I lose myself in this stormy cloud, the stormy winds, the scary clouds, and this crazy fire, this inferno. So we have to sift through these and say, okay, I can't eat that, that's trick. I can't look at those things, that's not good, that's the eye candy, I'm not allowed to look at that. Okay, I'm sifting these things away. If you notice, after Yechezkel moved through these 3 impure klippas, there was another klippa called Noga. There was a surrounding, but it was light. Noga means a light. Which means there's a 4th klippa, which is, it covers, but it's shining at the same time. Klippas Noga means all the things of this world which are permitted, but they're not a mitzvah. Which means I'm allowed to find Hashem in them. Hashem is open there, but if I don't do this properly, I'm going to descend into the world of disconnect. But if I engage in it properly, I can completely connect to the holiness that is Hashem. What would be examples of things that are permitted, but it's not an inherent mitzvah, and therefore I'm allowed to engage in them, but it's all about how I engage in them. Eating. Basically, almost everything you can imagine, except those 365. Like a nice walk on the beach with your wife, eating a piece of gogol, kicking a soccer ball. Give me some more. Let's go so far as to say, watching a bunch of guys in short pants put a ball through a hoop, driving a car, everything. Sitting on a bench in Central Park, breathing. It's so nice. All of these, is there a mitzvah inherent in it? Is it like putting on tefillin, learning Torah? No, we're going to see a mitzvah category. These are all things that we can get. Going to sleep. Going to sleep. Is it a mitzvah? No, not necessarily. Is it usur? No. It's how do I use it? So the entire category of klipas noga means it's all the things in the world. By the way, this table is klipas noga. Either I could use it for something positive, or God forbid, this very table that Hashem is creating, this table through klipas noga, this very table is being generated through klipas noga, either to be used to keep svarim on and learn Torah, or God forbid, to be used for something not kosher, not good. Which means, is there anything inherent about this? Hashem is creating this table right now through klipas noga, because it's not inherently a mitzvah, and it's not inherently off limits. It's just how am I going to use it? So the amazing thing about klipas noga is if you use it for Hashem, you can elevate it to the highest place, and you can bring everything up to Hashem in the world of klipas noga. Because noga means it's a shining shell. A shell means it's blocking. So that should be blocking God, right? But at the same time, it's shining. Your fingernails are compared to klipas noga, by the way. Because they're a shell, right? They cover, but they reveal. They're shining. Usually does a shell cover something or reveal something? What do you say? It covers. It's a shell. It covers something over. It obscures my vision. If, so to speak, God is at the inner point of life and the world is concealing him, and we have to sift through everything and find him, that's one of the ways that we get free will and get a relationship, because we find and we earn the relationship. Then something which is covering would be something that conceals Hashem. Something which is not covering would be a revelation. That's great. Removing klipas. What about a shell that's shining? It's kind of both, right? It's covering, but at the same time it reveals. It's shining with what's underneath it. So klipas noga is all the things in this world that have the ability to either reveal Hashem, if I use them properly, or to, God forbid, conceal Hashem if I don't use them properly. Klipas noga is the main point of our life, and you're going to learn a lot more about klipas noga to be continued tomorrow. Yesher koyach Rabbi